Jess texted me and actually said she said I'll be there. So that might be, is that her or was that my recording? Oh, that might be
probably recording.
Yeah. So Jess is probably going to pop in here at some point, but we wanted to try to just focus this session on, obviously just a quick intro to just Flipgrid and what it looks like, topics and grids and things like that. But Amanda, certainly we don't want to hold you up the whole time that we're doing this too. We wanted you and Jess to be able to pop in so that you could share, explicitly what you guys are doing in class and how you use it, because you guys are crushing it with Flipgrid, obviously, just in different ways. So it's totally up to you. If you want, I can start maybe just going through a real basic of like, here's what it looks like. And then if you want to jump in, or if you want to start, I'm cool with that too. It's whatever you prefer.
No, why don't you start, and then I'll talk about a couple of the things I've done.
Cool. Okay, so I'm just gonna just briefly just share on my screen here Flipgrid and just creating an initial class. So here we are in just Flipgrid. If you go to flipgrid.com, there's an educator login that you can log in with your Google account. And one piece that I just want to start off by showing is sort of just differentiating between grids and topics. And the easiest way that I can explain it is that when you add a new grid here, you are essentially adding a new classroom. So grids are very similar to classrooms. So I might say this is like my English, period 2 class, when I put my name. And when you make a grid, you can limit it to just school email. So this is going to basically be all of our Warwick SD students. And when I hit next, it'll actually pop up right there. So this is going to allow anyone with our school email to access it. So if your kids are accidentally on their own personal Gmail, it might not work. But as long as they're in their Warwick SD account, they'll be good. And then this link right here, I can post this to Classroom, or I can just copy the link, and that's going to get students into my grid, which again, this is really a classroom. Now, once you get into the grid, topics are a lot like assignments that you're going to be able to distribute to your students. So when we go to when I go to add a new topic right here, you're going to give your, title for your assignment. So this could be, maybe I have an informative speech or something like that. If I want to post some links in here, I was just with Mrs. Hoyer, and she was able to post, a Google Doc that had links to her informative speech instructions directly in this box, and then kids can access that link if it's view only. Over here we have our recording time, and you can see it ranges from 15 seconds to 10 minutes, so you have all kinds of options there. The video moderation feature is pretty important. If you have this checked on, then it means that students are going to post a video, but they will not be able to see each other's videos. Only you'll be able to see all the videos, and then you have the option to release those so that they're able to be publicly viewed by students. If you have it turned off, then as students post videos, they'll just go live. So if another student goes to this topic, they will see the other videos as well. I really like this option right here. You can choose to add an image or a GIF to your topic, but if you do this record a video, you actually have the option to provide just video instructions of what the students are about to do in the topic as well. And then I think last, I just want to show you the more options feature right here, because there are a couple valuable tools in here. The topic attachments, if you want to include certain attachments with your topic. Again, that could be Google Docs, YouTube videos, things like that. You can add resources directly to this Flipgrid. This is where you'll set the dates for your Flipgrid, when you want them active and when you want them to turn off. And then these options right here are also a little bit important. Student-to-student replies allows for students to be able to like or respond directly in a video response to other students' work. Likes, very similar just to social media, kind of like thumbs ups that you can give each other. This allows students to attach links, and this allows them to trim and edit their videos if they're running a bit long. Sticky notes is also worth mentioning, because students can sometimes add sticky notes and animate little images and things like that to their videos. So if it's a more professional type of speech, you can take that off. If it's something more casual, you can leave that on. And then there is a basic feedback section for teachers where they can leave comments for students, and they can rate their ideas and performance. That's a built-in rubric as well. So when I hit create topic, and I'm just going to test. When I hit create topic, this is going to provide a direct link to students to access that topic right there. And again, I can share that in Google Classroom, or I can post the link directly into Google Classroom as well, or I can email it to students. So that's just the basics of creating a Flipgrid. And hi, Jess.
Hi, Jess.
So again, if you've never used Flipgrid before, ultimately grids are classrooms and topics are assignments, and that's just a real quick walkthrough of how to do that. So Shelly, I don't know if you had something.
Why don't we let them go first, and then I have a few extra things I was going to go through, but yeah, let them go first.
Perfect. So yeah, Amanda and Jess were kind enough to pop in because they use Flipgrid in their classroom. They do it really well. So Amanda or Jess, if you want to just kind of jump in, if you want to share your screen, if you want to show off anything, that'd be great. But really just a good place to kind of throw out some ideas of how you use it and why it's successful, or what you've done to make it successful in your classroom.
Let me see if I can figure out how to share just this window.
Amanda, go ahead.
I don't know if I'll figuring that out, but yeah, my kids when we were still in the classroom, and they loved using Flipgrid, and this was my first year using it. We did a lot of flip hunts, and they really like that, where you post a list of tasks that they can try to do as many as they can, and then they submit their videos with the teammate or with a group, and they really got into that. I teach Spanish, so it's a really great way for them to practice their language. And what's nice is that once they submit their video, and for me, they're always really short because Spanish one, they can't say very much at a time. But once they submit their video, they can add text. So they can say it, and then they can type it out too, and practice writing it as well. With remote learning, it's just been key because I can't see them anymore. So I can submit a question, they can hear me ask the question, and then they can submit their answers. I try to do one, been trying to do one once a week. I did do a flip hunt, although I did a whole class flip hunt where I posted enough options for everyone in the class and then posted a Google Doc, and they all signed up for what they wanted to do. They were things that they could act out. So they picked whatever task they wanted to act out, and then they acted it out and said it at the same time. Some of them added text as well. And then as a class, we all collaborated and got everything on the list. Let's see, what else have I done? I've, just questions that they've answered. I did one where there was an invitation that the students could make for another student. So they invited someone to do something with them. They submitted their invitation video, and then the kids watched each other's invitations and responded to each other. I'm trying to remember what I was.
I know the reply feature is one that you've just done recently.
Yeah, it was the first time I had tried a reply. So they really have to click on that little bubble below the video, and I tried to be very specific about that, and I even posted a screenshot, but still they figured out other ways to respond that weren't quite showing up for me. So for me, that didn't kind of work out the way I wanted it to for everyone, but that's just a learning curve. And
yeah, I think that's one of those that if we were actually in the building, you probably could take 5 seconds and be like, guys, this is the button you click on. And be like, oh, okay, good kind of deal.
Yeah.
I know. But the one that I'm most excited about is the one I haven't done yet. And that is, we have a paper plate meal assignment that I do every year at the end of the year. It's one of my most favorite things that I do. And they make a meal on a paper plate. They can draw foods. They can cut them out of a magazine. They can do it, with Google Slides or whatever, and then print it out however they want. But they come up with this image of a paper plate with foods on it, because we're learning how to say foods and order foods and describe foods. So they are going to, when they were in class, they would take their plates and they would move around and they would show each other their plates and they would talk about what's on their plates. And then we had a scavenger hunt with a whole list of questions of who has a green vegetable, who has
awesome.
bread, who has, and they would find these foods on everybody's different plates. So I thought, how am I going to do this? I really want to still do this. So they're going to make their plate. They're going to submit a Flipgrid video describing, here, I have a plate, describing what's on their plate, and they're going to tell you what all the things are. And then their selfie, when they're done with their video and they take their selfie is just going to be the plate.
Awesome.
And then they're going to add their name. Yeah. So when the kids go on to do the scavenger hunt, they'll see that screen with everybody's plate and everybody's name, and they'll have their Google form or whatever, however we're going to do that, but they'll have questions to answer, and they can see everybody's plate. And
That's so awesome.
hopefully respond, maybe we'll try responding again, and they can respond and tell one thing that they like on somebody else's plate, one food that they really love or something that they don't like, or comment on somebody. So
yeah, and I think that's just good to kind of, for again, people that don't use Flipgrid, just to know that, the ability that students, yes, they can post, here's a video submission the teacher's going to look at, but really it's super valuable that they can see each other's videos as well and directly respond. And again, for something like a scavenger hunt like that, there's just so much student-to-student interaction that's going on as well. And you're kind of, teachers sort of off to the side watching this happen and managing.
Right.
Kids are really the ones going back and forth. That's a great example.
And some of these videos are getting like 50 views because they all want to watch each other's funny.
Oh, what does that tell you? They miss each other, want to see each other.
Yeah.
That is so true.
Very cool.
Sure.
Thanks for sharing, Amanda.
Awesome.
Jess, you want to jump in with anything? Because obviously you do a ton of awesome stuff with Flipgrid too.
Sure. Yeah, I do flip hunts several times a year. Those are definitely big. I use them for vocabulary. So I like to, in the beginning of the year, I show them like make an observation, ask a question. Like for the scientific method, I'll like give them things. But then as the year goes on, I have them come up with their own. So for the rock cycle, they have to come up with like their own. So one group would have like lithification, another group would have weathering, another group erosion. And then for each class, they come up with their word and their hand motion, and then they make a little Flipgrid. And then anytime that class is in my room, I use their hand motion.
Oh, nice.
So it's kind of like, and so I will often separate out my topics are not really topics, they're sections. So I'll have like a big, this will be like rock cycle vocabulary is the name of like the whole Flipgrid. I'm not sure if I have and then the topics are 8.1, 8.2, 8.3.
Okay.
So all of that, like that's how I break them down a lot.
Yeah, okay. So instead of it being, okay, I got you. Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Then they have stuff that's specific to their section.
Right.
And they get used to doing that like throughout the year. Since we were distance learning, I had them do a plate boundary song with the Addams Family song. And I said, just for fun, go ahead and make a video. And I had 10 kids. It was totally like voluntary and it was a competition. 10 kids, 7.7 hours of engagement.
Oh my gosh.
7.7.
Well, we did that Earth Day thing just to kind of like as something extra for kids. They could do, what was it? The Masked Singer. We had different things. Oh my gosh. Like some of the kids were constantly on it. It just shows you. I mean, it just,
Yeah, we had a lot of good elementary feedback from that one for sure. But I think part of it is like, some kids are just really into the video scene, and it's once they see how easy it is to jump on there, it's kind of like, maybe I'll make something else. So
right.
There are certain kids I think gravitate toward it a little bit more. But I love making, like you said, Jess, even just having this like optional, and to see how many kids jump in the optional assignments because they get to be silly and they get to see each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then also for science fair this year, obviously we could not have our science fair. So what we are doing is we made one called Science Fair, and then for the topics, one is Mrs. Gaiman's, Mr. Lambert, Mr. Romano, and we're all like co-creators or co-owners of it. And then all of my kids are going to put theirs in my class. And then at the end, they will have the whole 8th grade science fair.
That's awesome.
Videos. So that was something that we came up with because it's an important thing. So in times like this, which hopefully this won't happen again in the fall, but if it would happen again, you can still do presentations and, that might be something that people could use if they had something big coming up and then we're not there.
And like we said, seeing each other is huge, just in having that connection.
Yeah, and it's also been really useful for students who might have in like an IEP or a 504 that they do not have to present in front of the class.
Yes.
It's a great alternative where they still, like they might be responsible for information that the rest of the class needs and they still need to present that information. So Flipgrid is a great way for them to, they don't have to stand in front of the class, they can quick record their video. If they don't like watching themselves, they don't even have to be in the room when you're presenting, but that way they're still responsible and being part of the class, but not having to stand up in front of everybody.
Very cool. Do you guys feel like, just to throw this out because it's sort of like more of a level 2 Flipgrid piece at this point, but the, initially with Flipgrid, it's like, okay, here's a place where students can record videos and post. Do you find that you often are including attachments to docs or to other things with instructions with your Flipgrids as of late versus like, hey, I'm just going to post the instructions in this Flipgrid and they're good to go? do you feel like you often, have to include other attachments with that? And if you do, would you mind just kind of speaking about that? Because I know that,
Do you mean like, yeah, do you mean like a PDF with more directions on it?
Yeah, like a PDF, or maybe it's a link to like a video, or maybe it's a link to a doc or something like that, versus if we were just in Flipgrid and you have that little paragraph box for instructions. What do you feel like you use more? Just like, is it more of a, hey, here's the task, go to it, kids, or is it like, hey, check out these instructions and then put it together in Flipgrid? Because I think it's sort of, the complexity of the assignment sort of determines that. But I'm just wondering, which one do you use more? Is it more of just a, hey, real quick task, or is it like, here's, multi steps that I want you to follow?
I would say it's a mix depending on how complex the assignment is. But I always do put something there, whether it's I copy and paste it or I do put the PDF. There's always something there just in case they forgot or they can't. Kids who have a little more trouble going back and forth, it's nice because now you can actually you can click that while you're working in Flipgrid and actually see, like, that was a change they made. They didn't always used to have it that way. Yeah. So that's been a great help, and the kids really utilize that.
Yeah, I think it's the more I get used to it, the more I'm just posting stuff within Flipgrid itself. When I started, I used to post my example videos on Google Classroom because that was what I was used to. Right. But now that I know you can post them within the Flipgrid, when I did that invitation assignment, I must have had like 6 or 7 attachments because there was the Google Doc for them to sign up. They had to sign up for what their invitation was going to be, so everybody didn't do the same thing. And then 3 example videos that I posted. And it's just so easy to just stick them right in there.
By doing that, it helps you be organized for next year as well. So you know where it's going to be.
Yes, it's all there. And for language, and I don't know how this applies to other subjects, but I often do find it helpful to click that little circle where it says that I have to moderate, or I have to see them first before the kids can see them. I have to actually go in and activate them, because my kids will watch each other's videos. And if the first, 5 kids that did it made a lot of mistakes, they'll all make those same mistakes.
Right.
I tell them, watch my video, watch my examples that I post, and do your own, and then I'll activate. Right. But there are some things where it's so interactive where you really have to have them all activated from the beginning. Yeah. Learn to say, please just watch my examples and do your own video, and then watch each other's.
Yeah.
That is definitely, that's something too.
Else's mistake.
I think a lot of kids not copy, but if they're stuck creatively, they want to just look to see what other people have done.
Right.
So I think sometimes it's good to keep those back because you want them to actually come up with it on their own. I did that a couple of STEM labs this year where they had to like create things, and I didn't want everyone to be able to see what each group did. There was one thing I thought about for flip hunts too. If you are planning on doing a flip hunt, to make it easier for you as the moderator of it, if you have them hashtag their clips with whatever the task was, or especially how many points it was. So you could be like 3 points and then beside it, so like it makes it a lot easier if you are doing a competition flip hunt where each task is worth different points. It was really out of order, but I didn't want to forget that because that really
that's a huge one. That's a huge one for sanity when you're managing to grade all those videos that are coming up for flip on. Absolutely.
And keeping them in the topics, different sections, because then again, it's hard. The first flip hunt I did, I had them all together, and it was a nightmare to try to organize points, and it was a mess. So keeping them separate really has been helpful too.
Cool.
It's such a user-friendly tool, and I know that Erin Myers, who teaches 3rd grade, she did it online learning with her 3rd graders, and they did vocabulary charades, and she invited me in so that I can see it. And the way she set it up in her Google Classroom, she had the directions, she had a video, and then she's like, I'm available these office hours if you are having trouble. But they did it, and they did it successfully, and they absolutely loved it. So it's one of those tools that is so, you can use it at any grade level, and it's so engaging for the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just working with Hazel and Miller because they, needed a format for their student council election, and they wanted kids to be able to, post their speeches. And part of the moderation was that, they didn't want certain kids to post it early and have things like that. So by having a, moderated video, it was basically like, all right, guys, you have until this date to post your videos. and then I'm going to release all of the videos in this 3-day window, and in that 3-day window, you'll have that time to look and to vote. And I think that's really applicable for how you could do it in your classroom too, where, you know, you wind up saying, you know, you have up until this date to post the videos, and then you as the teacher can go and check everything out, and then you can almost do a follow-up assignment where you release all the videos at once, and now, okay, find 3 people in your class for phase 2, and, you know, do a response or do something like that, whether it's scavenger hunt, but it sort of does keep people at least on the same level where it's not just, okay, I'm looking at this one first, and then, you know, it sort of streamlines it that way, I think. So yeah, tons of different ways to do it for sure. Absolutely.
All right, well, I was just going to go over resources for you to find different Flipgrids. I mean, girls, you don't have to stay for this. I was just going to show Twitter and the Disco library. So I don't want to take up your time. We really appreciate you being, so you're going to give us a bye. So great to see you guys. Thank you so much for all of your input. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, have fun, guys.
Have a great day. Enjoy that sunshine.
Thanks so much. See ya.
Bye. All right, so I'm just going to show my screen. I'm going to go to Twitter. Hold on, let me share my screen first. And if you're stuck with ideas for Flipgrid, one of the best places, I think, even if you're not a Twitter person and you don't tweet a lot, is going to Twitter. And their hashtag, you can do hashtag Flipgrid, hashtag Flipgrid Fever seems to be their kind of like their handle, where you can find tons and tons of activities that teachers and educators have already created and are more than welcome to share with you. So that's a resource. That's definitely something that you can look at. Lots of information. I think Flipgrid does such a good job with the professional development. There's tons of webinars and people that are willing to contribute and share. So there's a resource for you. If I go to my Flipgrid and I go up here, Grid Pals is, it's what some of my the teachers that do global read alouds. Global read alouds happen in October, where you have a book that you read, and all teachers across the world read this book, and then they collaborate. Grid Pals is a great way for you to collaborate with other classrooms around the world. I know that Lisa Colino does this a lot, where you can collaborate with and have book talks and things like that. If you are stuck for resources, the Disco library is something that you can always turn to. It's here that you can sort by your audience, you can sort by your subject, and then you can search by topics. Jess mentioned flip hunts. If I search flip hunts, there's going to be a ton that already pop up that are already created. So I think that Flipgrid does a phenomenal job of providing you with material so you don't have to reinvent the wheel on your own. There's great resources, great activities that you can use. All right, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Is there anything else, do you think?
Well, I think that's actually great. I feel like it's yeah. I mean, so again, we covered just basic setup for Flipgrid and some of the options that you have as the teacher to set that up depending on the kind of activity you're doing. I was thinking I could share some of the docs that we have for flip hunts, things like that. But I think that you reviewing the Disco library is a good place for people to start as well. Mm-hmm. Obviously, if anyone's viewing this and you are interested in doing a flip hunt or some you want some tangible resources like that, put in a tech request. We'll be happy to share some of the templates that we've used in the past with teachers from K through 12. But yeah, I feel like that was a good.
Absolutely, yes, it's a great tool.
So awesome! Thanks for watching, folks.
Yes, have a great day. Bye.